Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing with you 3 homemade snacks that I've made for my family multiple times and that we all love. I had originally recorded an intro to this, showing my face and everything, and somehow I got mixed up and I deleted it, so this is just what we're going to go with. Okay, starting out with these 5 ingredient energy bites. We love these. This is probably the recipe I make the most, honestly. They're really yummy. So we're going to do 3 cups of oats in a pretty big bowl so you have room to mix. We're going to do a cup of the sweetened coconut flakes, a cup of chocolate chips, and a cup of peanut butter. So once I get all that together, then I'm going to grab a half cup and we're going to do a half a cup of honey. You can do a little less if you don't want to use quite that much, and you can always add a tablespoon of water. You just want it to be moist enough basically that when you mix it all together, it's going to stick together well for you. So I'm just going to stir it all up. I have a little kid getting a little snitch there. They're always coming around when they hear me making this. I failed to mention that you could also do mini chocolate chips if you prefer that. That works great too. So then I'm going to just take my little cookie scoop. I love using this. It just makes it easier. I grease it and then I'm just using that to kind of help me form the balls. And I'm putting it on a cookie sheet that already has a little saran wrap. You could also use wax paper, just keeps it a little nicer. So once I've done that, I just stick it in the fridge. I would say for at least an hour, just till they get hardened up, and then you can just store them in a Tupperware. They're super yummy. You could even also add protein powder if you want, just to make them a little more hearty, but they are a great snack to have on hand. Okay, next up, we are gonna make basic muffins. Growing up, we called these popular muffins, and they are just a great basic muffin recipe to make when you just have basic ingredients at home and you need something quick for a snack or a side or whatever. So I'm gonna start out, I'm technically doubling this recipe, so I'm gonna use 2 eggs. I'm going to mix those up in a big bowl, and then I'm gonna add to that 2 cups of milk, and then a half a cup of oil. So I'm gonna get all of that all mixed up, and then we will add in our dry ingredients. Now, since I'm doubling this, it is gonna call for a lot of flour. It has 4 cups of flour. I'm just using white flour. You could substitute some of that white for wheat, I'm sure, to make it a little bit healthier. But then we are gonna do a half cup of sugar and then 6 teaspoons of baking powder, or whatever the equivalent of that is. I'm just following my recipe here, and then 2 teaspoons of salt. So once I have all that together, I'm gonna mix it up. Obviously you don't want to mix and mix and mix and make your batter tough, but just mix it enough so you're not seeing the dry bits of flour. You will see some lumps still, and that's fine. That's normal for how it's supposed to look. Then I'm gonna grab out my muffin tins and I'm just gonna grease them. I am making a little bit bigger muffins, and so it's gonna make 18 for me, but if you put a little less in your muffin tin, you could get 24 out of this. I also sometimes like to make the little mini muffins. Those are great for snacking, and yeah, those are fun too. But today I'm just making the normal size. I'm sticking them in the oven at 400 degrees, and I'm gonna bake them for at least 12 minutes or until they are golden brown like this. I'll usually poke them with a little toothpick to make sure they're done. Spread on a little butter, and you have a great snack or a great side. Okay, next we are gonna make our baked granola bars. This recipe calls for a few more ingredients than the other ones, but definitely worth making. It's really yummy too. So I'm going to start out with my oats. I'm gonna use 4 cups of oats for this one. And then we're gonna do 2 cups of flour. You can do whole wheat, again, if you have it. I just a lot of times don't have it on hand. Then we are going to do a cup of brown sugar, and I'm gonna get that all mixed together. Once I have that all mixed together, I'm gonna add in my salt, doing about, I think that was about 1.5 teaspoons of salt, and then the same amount of cinnamon. You could always do a little more cinnamon if you want. It's always nice to have a lot of cinnamon. So we're gonna get that all nicely mixed up, and then I will start working on my wet ingredients here. So I'm gonna do 3 eggs. I feel like my recipe calls for 2, but I guess I wanted to do an extra that day. So I'm doing 3 eggs, and then I'm going to do a cup of oil, and then I'm gonna do a cup of honey, and I'll mix that oil and honey together if I can. I don't know if you've tried mixing oil and honey. Sometimes it's a little hard to get it all together. And I'm adding in some vanilla too. I think I did about a tablespoon of vanilla. So I'm gonna get that mixed together as well as I can. It's just gonna make it mix better with the dry ingredients if I already at least have it partially mixed. So I'm gonna get that poured in, and then of course I'll pour my eggs in there too. And and I will just work on getting that all mixed together. Once we have it all mixed together, we can add our add-ins. I'm adding chocolate chips and craisins today, but like you could do nuts, whatever kind of nut you like. You could do white chocolate chips, whatever you prefer in your granola bars. So I'm gonna do a cup of chocolate chips. I'm gonna add those now, and then you'll see I will add my craisins in just a little bit, and you will see why. But first I'm gonna grab my dish here. I think I already greased it, I just didn't show you that part. And I'm gonna put in half of my granola bar mixture because some of my kids like the craisins in their granola bars and some do not. So basically I'm just kind of dividing it in half here. We're gonna have half with just chocolate chips and then half with our craisins. So to this other half that's still in the bowl, I'm adding, I think this was a half a cup. The amount doesn't really matter, just however many craisins you like, add them in. And now I'm just pouring them back in to my dish. Sorry, I am losing my words here. So there you have it, that's what it looks like. We are going to stick that in the oven at 350, and we're just gonna bake that for around 30 minutes. I like to check it a lot because I've overcooked it, I've undercooked it. I'll just check it and make sure it looks done, but not too brown on the edges. And there you have it, a delicious baked granola bar. Thanks for watching, guys.